Don't stop.
Hi, thanks for listening to the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast, and this is The Gay Bit. I'm your host, Zach Reynolds-Friedman, and it's that time of week again where my show probably wasn't gay enough for you, or I didn't think it was gay enough for you this past week, and I am bringing you a super gay Friday called The Gay Bit. This is a unfiltered, just me and the microphone, where I have something living in my head that I want to talk about. Sometimes I talk about something campy, sometimes I talk about something fun, sometimes I talk about an experience that I had. I kind of talk about whatever kind of hits me on this Friday. And this week I'm talking about something that's been just bothering me just a tiny, tiny bit. Something that's been kind of nagging me, like that notification that you can't swipe and make it go away. And I've had this on my iPhone actually for the last week, where I somehow have my Apple TV remote coming up on the home screen of my iPhone. And no matter what I do, I can't get it to go away. And it's still there. Even when the Apple TV is unplugged, it is still there. But that's my week, and that's okay. But this week, we're going to talk about something that's about what me and my friend are talking about, because we went to a brunch, which gay men love to do. We had our eggs Benedict. We had our mimosas, which is what gay men like to do at a brunch. And then I go to my friend. I'm going to call him Freddie. That's not his real name, but I don't want to out him. But all this stuff, Freddie listens to the show 100%. And Freddie and I had this very similar conversation, but I want Freddie to hear it kind of like as a third party hearing it now. Because maybe if he hears it like with me talking about it on my podcast, he'll think, okay, I really do need to change this. So this is what I like to do with my friends. And all my friends have my number with this. I ask my friends, can I use your phone? And my excuse is, my phone died and my mom's cat died. I need to call her. It's my little thing that I say. At first it worked. And my friends are like, oh yes, call your mom. So sorry to hear about her cat. Her cat's not dead. Don't need to call my mom. I just want to get into your phone so I can go into your Grindr profile and I can go and swipe and I can send messages to guys, because I don't have Grindr. So I need to get that out of me somehow. Or I like to go on their Facebook pages and write on a post on their Facebook page saying, my friend Zach is so hot and I want to sleep with him. And I've been in love with him for years. And then I post it as if they posted it. And it's all laughs and fun and, but now none of my friends will give me their phone. Once in a while, I will have a friend. I'm like, can I just see your Grindr? I have to just say, can I see your Grindr profile so I can just swipe? And I will get a friend once in a while that will give in and say yes. And Freddie did say yes at this brunch. I take Freddie's phone. I'm going through Grindr and swiping left and right and stuff. And I also like to send guys messages on the people's behalf. And a lot of times they're kind of out of this world. Like I'll send a guy just a message, not even saying hi, like I like 11 inches or more. So I'm pretending I'm Freddie saying I like 11 inches or more to some random guy. And the guy could not even be Freddie's type, but I'm just doing it. And I do that. Or I like to be spit roasted. Do you have a friend that could come by and spit roast me? Like I like to say things like that, where it really just kind of like, then I show it, I showed it to Freddie and he's ha ha, and we all laugh and it's all funny. And Zach is the funny person at brunch, but it was just me and Freddie. So I didn't actually do it with Freddie this time, but I have done that multiple times. You can ask probably any of my friends that have Grindr that have let me use their phones about that story, because it's happened often. And one time I did this for someone that I knew, and he got propositioned with coming over and being paid for sex. I think $1,000 is what he was offered. He didn't go, or at least he said he didn't go. But we also haven't heard from that friend again. So who knows? Anyway, me and Freddie are sitting there and I'm going through his Grindr profile where we're at brunch and we're just talking and having a good time and just catching up on life. And then I go look at Freddie's profile picture. And I kind of just say, these two people in this profile can't both be you, can they? He goes, looks me directly in the face and says, yes, they are me because I know what I want. I'm like, you know what you want? I go, your profile also says that you are 32. This app also says that you were active at 2 a.m. That's the last time you were active on the app. So you were up at 2 a.m. as a 32-year-old. Your bathroom mirror says something differently entirely. And I think you need to have a conversation with the lighting in your apartment, because that lighting is not showing that you were 32. So that's not even the part that got me, is that the picture was not showing 32, or the picture was so filtered out. It was clearly barely him at this point. The part that got me was his grid. When I say the grid, it's the grid of all the people that he's been looking. So every single man that was on his grid that he has either saved or favorited or hearted or whatever it is that you do on Grindr, like, or he has sent a message to, or he's communicating with, all those people on his grid were all at least 6'2". They all had broad shoulders. They all had this beautiful Boston boy jawline. Like, you know what I'm talking about. It's those guys that look like they played like lacrosse or rugby, or not American football, but like European football. That's the type of guys that he was looking at. That's all in his grid. It's all those people. And these are the people, the kind of sports that Freddie doesn't know anything about. He just knows that he likes that body type. So let me just also go through and talk about, so Freddie is 5'8". That's not what he says in his app. I think he said he was 5'11". So you've already, like, when this person meets you, you're going to almost be considered a catfish. Freddie has a decent body. He does cardio at the gym. He's not like a weightlifter. He's not a bodybuilder, but he's got a great body. He's got a good job. He works for a company and does HR. He has a successful career. By the way, he's not 32. He's more in his 40s. I'm not going to say exactly how old Freddie is, but I guess it doesn't matter because you don't know. Freddie is 43. And again, he's got a good career, but saying you're 11 years younger, or you're 11 years older than what you're saying in your profile. Like, you look young, Freddie, but do you look 11 years younger? I don't know. Maybe somebody else should be a judge and not your friend. Freddie likes to talk about what he does for his job, but he hates his job. He complains daily about he has to go into an office 4 days a week, and he has to sit on Zoom calls, and he's on a Zoom call with the person in the cubicle or office next to his. He doesn't understand it. I mean, I don't get it either. But I listen to him because I don't have to go into an office anymore. And I love Freddie, so I let him talk about that during brunch too. So now we're sitting there, and I asked Freddie the question, do you think any of these men have ever swiped right on you? And he goes, and I want you to sit with this for a minute, I don't think so, not yet. And he looked so optimistic about it, though. I felt sad for him, though. Either he's super delusional about things, because when he does meet these guys and they see that he's not who he is in his profile, they're going to walk away or decline, or he's going to get his feelings hurt because the person's going to read him and call him a catfish. So we kind of move on. And here's the thing. So I want to kind of go back to this a little bit, because yes, Freddie's situation is funny, but it is also, and I mean this with love, deeply and profoundly, universally, what a lot of gay men go through. Gay men are the only demographic on earth who have made having a completely unrealistic, oddly specific, borderline clinical type into a personality trait. Straight men have types too, obviously, but a straight man says that his type is like, oh, I like brunettes. And that's it. That's his whole thought. A gay man says that he has a type, and it has a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation, and he has a whole mood board that he has created for this person that's his type. In his notes section of his iPhone, he has everything written down as he's gone throughout the week of new things and new traits that he wants in this person. So I like men who are tall, but not too tall, athletic, but not gym obsessed, with dark hair, natural, not dyed, and light eyes, ideally green, but I'll consider hazel, who have a dog, specifically a medium-sized dog, not a small dog because that's a deal breaker, who like to travel but also value staying at home, who are emotionally available but not clingy, and who like and could fix something in my apartment but are also will cry during a movie. That's how specific we get in Freddie's first point of what he wants in a person. So I go to Freddie. You've just described kind of a fictional character. You've described somebody that you would see in a romance movie. You have described someone that is fan fiction. This man does not exist. And if he did, he is already in a relationship with someone, because somebody has snatched him up so fast, your eyes wouldn't even be able to stay on them. That person has been in a relationship for a long time, and that person is not letting this guy leave the house because he's scared somebody else is going to try to take him. That's how perfect that guy is. And we'll be right back. Okay, now back to the show. So then we have the categories, the gay type categories, and then we can all go there because they have been codified, they have been institutionalized. We have taken human beings that are complex, multidimensional human beings and sorted them like a delivery grocery order. So this is what we have. We have bears, we have your cubs, you have your wolves, you have your twinks, you have your twunks, which is a twink who started going to the gym and has opinions about protein intake. You have your daddies, your silver foxes, your muscle Marys, your gym bunnies, your leather dads, your preppy boys, your pups, your my little bronies, your masculine presenting femme in private, your Sagittarius sun Scorpio moon gay. And then you have those guys that says, I don't really have a type, guys, who absolutely have a type because everybody has a type. And then we've created a whole entire taxonomy. I want somebody that said that they've been to the Galapagos. He's looked at finches. He's came up with a theory of evolution. Gay men have looked at each other on a Saturday night, 1987, said, this one is an otter. And they built this entire classification system just from that one little thing. Now I need to be fair here because I am not exempt from this conversation. I am not sitting here as some enlightened being who transcended the concept of attraction and just loves people for their souls. No, I don't. I look at men and I am very judgy a lot of times. If I was single and not have been in a relationship, I would have probably a specific type. I probably have my notes. So again, I'm not judging Freddie. I just want Freddie to be a little bit more realistic about things. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But I do have a type and I married him though. That's the difference. I married my type and I am able to see him and talk with him and be with him every single day. And I am able to ask him to take out the trash and the recycling, which can be real intimacy in some milestones in some relationships. And it certainly is in ours. But before I met my husband, which is way back when in the dark ages, when I was in my 20s, and I know you're probably looking at this video if you're watching this video like, Zach, aren't you still in your 20s? And no, I'm not. I know I look it, but I'm not. But before there was apps and stuff, before people were meeting, 25 people a day and going on a date every 2 hours to meet somebody new that they met on an app, you could actually walk into a bar and make eye contact with someone, kind of like prey does to another animal. And I had a list, I did, and I am not unproud of it, but I'm not proud of it either. I'm a little proud of it. And the thing about my list is that my husband, when I met him that first night, he ticked about 75% of those things that were on my list. When I opened the door to my studio apartment, I knew right then he was the one. Don't ask me how I knew, because I only knew him from an AOL chat room conversation. I'd only seen a law school picture of him, and that's all I seen. But when I opened the door, there was a vibe there. And, there was 25% of that which he didn't check. And I remember telling him after we were together, I don't know, a few months, oh, I want you to do this. And he's like, I would tell him things I'd want him to do differently, or I wanted him to do. Like I wanted him to clean his apartment. And he told me at one point, you can't change me. Stop trying to change me. And I thought to myself, oh, okay, but I will. And you know what? I did. I did change him because now he's been with me for almost 28 years and now he's the perfect man because of me, because I changed him. Even though he says I couldn't, I did. But to be fair, he has changed me a lot too. There's a lot of things that he has done for me to lift me up and to make me feel positive. And I feel so fucking fortunate that I found somebody as amazing as him. But let's get back to where we were and not talk about my relationship because we're talking about Freddie and all these other people. So here's what I think is actually happening though. And I say this with the full weight of my completely unlicensed, self-appointed gay cultural analyst credentials. The type is not really about physical attraction. I mean, it's a little about physical attraction because you don't want to date somebody that you're not attracted to. We're gay men, I think straight women, straight men, gay women, transgender men and women all have a type. You have to be attracted to the person. That's like the first thing. You can't pretend that you're above it otherwise. You're not going to date somebody you're not attracted to. You're not going to speak to somebody you're attracted to. I mean, God, most people don't even have friends that they're not attracted to. All the friends that I have are all so cute. And I don't want to have an ugly friend, and you probably don't either. And if you have ugly friends, okay, just sit with that for a minute and think about it. But I'm not saying you're ugly, but if you're thinking that, I don't know. I'm just saying, I didn't say you were ugly because I'm not bashing anybody. But we all need to have friends that are in our league, I'll say. So I feel like I'm not hot. I think I'm cute, and I think my friends are cute, and I think some of them are hot. Not that so hot that I'd sleep with them, but I think they're hot. I think they're cute. I think they're good looking. I shouldn't say hot because I don't want to sleep with one of my friends, not one of them. I'm not attracted to any of my friends that way. Am I? No, none. Not one. Not one of my friends would I want to sleep with. Zero. Anyway, back to this. So I'm not saying that I'm like above, like if I was single, like I would say, oh, I won't have a type and looks isn't important because I think having a type is very, very important. Having somebody that you're attracted to, no matter what it is very important. And I think that you could be a little flexible, though, on being so specific on what your type is, though. And I know that I want type is also about identity. And we imagine ourselves to be with someone we want to be seen with, someone that we want to introduce to our best friends, someone we want to introduce to our family, somebody that we want to travel with and possibly go around the world with and walk down the aisle with one day and spend the rest of our lives with. So you want somebody that you're attracted to that you would feel so good and comfortable with. Because gay men have been told for so long that who we love is weird, is wrong, is shameful. And then we finally got to claim that desire out loud. And some of us overcorrected a bit. We didn't just go and have preferences. We got to have standards, detailed, specific, non-negotiable standards. And it's a form of self-respect, which I get. I swear I get it. And there is something genuinely radical about a gay man standing up and saying, I know exactly what I want and I'm not apologizing for it. And I love that. I love it that people can now, in most places, do that. And they can love somebody in most places. Not everywhere in the United States and definitely not everywhere in the world, but in a lot of places. If you're in Boston, New York, LA, Chicago, maybe even Miami. I don't know about Miami anymore, but maybe even Miami. There's places where you can show your affection and love for the person that you're with if you are gay or lesbian or trans or whatever you are. But somewhere between the radical determination and Freddie's Grindr grid, something did get a little lost. And let's talk about that for a moment, because the men who have a type then are scandalized when they are attracted to someone outside of it. And you know these men, and this might be you, and no judgment, I'm just saying this. This is the gay man who has been exclusively dating blonde men for a complete decade, and then meets a brunette guy on a Tuesday night, and then texts me at like 11 p.m. and says, something is happening to me, and I don't know how to explain it. Girl, you have developed an attraction to another human being. That's all it is. It is not a medical emergency. Thank God my phone is put in sleep mode and I didn't get your text and I didn't get it until the next morning. But this is not something that you need a support group for. You don't need to talk to your therapist about it. It's just a Tuesday night at 11 o'clock when you met somebody that happened to be out of your whole list of things that are required. Or this is my personal favorite when this happens. The gay guy who has a very firm no femmes policy. He has maintained this policy loudly and publicly, and then meets the campiest, most gloriously, theatrically gay man at a party and is completely undone. Completely. He can't even function. He's texting in all lowercase at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm in love with someone who owns a feather boa. They are freaking the fuck out. They're like, what's happening to me? And as we are friends, I have to sit there and say, yes, we know we've been watching you pretend not to look at him for 45 minutes. We clocked it. You're allowed to like somebody that's outside of your guidelines, outside of the PowerPoint, outside of your mood board. Go for it. Talk to him. Go on a few dates and see what happens. And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. So let's just go back to Freddie for a second, because I have to go back to him and talk about this grid of these lacrosse rugby player men that have these beautiful chiseled jawlines that are all in their late 20s, early to mid 30s, maybe, because maybe they're lying too. And the more I think about it, the more I think, you know what? Maybe Freddie is onto something. Not about the part where he hasn't updated his profile picture since 2019, because he took a good picture in Bermuda with his friends and he cut all his friends out and he's using that as his profile picture. That's a whole separate conversation. And I'll be having that with him separately again offline. And we'll also be talking to him about upgrading his LinkedIn picture because he took that picture in 2012. And people that see you on LinkedIn don't even know that's you anymore. But the not yet part, the audacity of it, the absolute refusal to lower the imaginary bar, the commitment to the dream. Because at the end of the day, gay men have been told no so many times by families, by churches, by governments, by culture that spent decades telling us our love was less than. That maybe the elaborate type, the specific grid, the detailed taxonomy, maybe it's just us practicing to say yes to ourselves. And I completely understand that. Maybe having a type is just another way of saying, I deserve to want things. I'm allowed to want things. My desires are real and valid, and I have thought them through, and I will not apologize for them. Even when those desires include a man who looks like the coaches at the rugby team in Spain and probably doesn't know anything about sports and doesn't even know what a football looks like, that's okay. So this is where I land after all this. My completely unsolicited advice as someone who's been gay for a long time and has been in a relationship with the same man for more than half of my life, I think you should have your type. I think you should keep your list. I think you should defend it. Make it weird, make it specific, and make it entirely your own. But also, I say this with genuine tenderness. Leave a little room. Leave just a little small crack in that door, because the person who changes everything for you probably isn't on your grid right now. They're probably somewhere you don't even think to look, doing something you don't think to appreciate, absolutely looking nothing like a Calvin Klein model, which is what you think you should be with. And they might have a medium-sized dog, you never know, but they could have a small little yappy dog, and you'll end up loving that dog. So Freddie, if you are listening, and I know that you are listening, update your profile picture. Let's start there. That's all I'm asking for now. The rest, the grid, the type, the not your energy, keep it all. You are magnificent, Freddie, and I love you, and you are a fantastic person, and you are going to make somebody the perfect husband one day. And to everyone else, thank you for spending your Friday with me. And I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so glad we're here getting to do this weird, wonderful, campy things. These little things all seem to matter more and more in today's world. So it makes me happy to be able to bring this gay bit to you every week and to talk about whatever is in my little crazy mind and whatever is in my head that's been living liberate and free. And I get to talk about it and say it. And I get feedback that people are enjoying these conversations, and I enjoy saying them. So that is my advice. I'm sure you can relate to it in some ways if you have a gay friend, or if you are that gay friend, or if you used to be that gay friend. But we all been there, so let's all support our friends like Freddie. And if you are Freddie, we support you. But just update your Grindr profile, put your real age, because you don't want to get caught and then somebody meets you and like, you just catfished me. You don't want that. Anyway, I'll be back on Sunday with a brand new amazing guest. Thanks so much for listening to The Gay Bit, and I'll be back next Friday with a new Gay Bit. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and also leave a rating and review, and share this episode with somebody you think that might want to hear it. Thanks for listening.